Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is ANI-255 and Module 6, and we are now on the smoke effect. And this is my least favorite effect in Maya, but I'll show it to you anyway. It can be powerful if it has the right sprites. I don't know if any of you understand what a sprite is. This is kind of old school. They used to use sprite animations. And it has to do with a flat 2D, usually divisible by 2, so 256 or 16 by 16, 32 by 32, 64 by 64. They use a lot of sprite animations, and this is what Maya is doing. It's taking image sequence of images, and they're actually hard to find. Actually, I had to go online and find the sprites. I don't ever use them, and when I worked at Random Games back in the heyday, I worked there for about 4 years, and we used them a lot, but rarely do I ever use them now. Now I know it's coming back with indie games, but and that's very cool, but you have to have the right sprites to get it to look good. So, and it's very powerful if you know how to use them correctly. But unfortunately, Maya doesn't really use the right attributes to get the best out of them. But I want to show you how to get it set up, and we'll quickly go through it because all the work that you put into it, there's not much reward, unfortunately, with this one. What we want to do is we want to take the smoke zip folder, make sure you unzip it, put it into your projects folder where Maya resides, and make sure you double click on the smoke, and everything should be ready for you. So you just want to double check and make sure in source images you have your apply sprite, your scalar random, and then this is where the images are, okay, and that's how we're going to use it. So those have to be in there for sure, and you should have them all in here because I'm going to go ahead and zip that up for you, make it really easy for you to get it started. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up, get Maya open up again, and you can have smoke come out of a curve, okay, out of an object, geometry, whether it could be a torus, let's say, and let's go ahead and get that shaped properly, and scale that up a bit. Like everything else, I want to delete it, delete by type history, and do all that stuff. And you can go ahead and apply the effects, smoke, like that. You can see I got the sprite image name, smoke.0, the smoke name, start image at 0, end image at 50, and you can see everything. Go ahead and pause the video to get all of these set up properly. Okay, and then click create, and then when you play, you got your smoke effect. Okay, now what are these then? Each one of those little cubes that you see here are sprites, and those sprites are on a 2D flat square, and on that 2D flat square is a picture of smoke. Okay, so the only way to render this is another issue that I have with this particular effect, is that you have to have hardware on. So Maya hardware 2, nothing else will actually render it properly. So when I go in here and now render that, this is what it looks like, which is really disappointing to me. What makes it so powerful, though, is if it does have the right attributes applied to it, it can be pretty powerful. Again, I just don't think it's all that great. And I actually, when we do Steam and Smoke, I'm not really going to use this, although I do want to show you what it looks like and how you could use it. But I really don't. I don't see any. I don't know. I just don't see it looking even close to being realistic, and there's other things you can do and use other things that'll make, smoke. It'll look a lot. It's a lot easier to handle and use. Unfortunately, sprites are just kind of a pain in the butt, and they're not worth the amount of effort you're going to have to put into them to get them to look good. So that's my take on smoke. You can see that Taurus has that on there, and we have smoke attributes, we have turbulence on there, so you can kind of play with all the turbulence and the magnitude and attenuation, and just play with them if you want to. But in this instance, I just wanted to show it to you just because it's in the effects, and I can go ahead and let's do another scene real quick. And you can also create them directly without having to, you don't have to have an object like fire. So I can go right into smoke and go into the option box, keep what we had before, click on create, and it creates its own emitter, and we can play the animation there. So okay, so let me turn this up to 200. There we go. Okay, there we go. And now you can see better what it's going to look like. Okay, then let's see how far it goes before. Yeah, there we go. So now we've got the full length. And what I do like about sprites is that there's a expression on here that allows the sprites to look like they're three-dimensional, but they're not. Wherever I move my camera, the sprites actually move towards the camera. So they never look flat, and that's kind of cool. So when I render that, it'll render black because I'm trying to render out of Arnold, and it should be Maya hardware. There we go. And there they are. So now you can see, and I'm going to turn that up a little bit, and you can see what they look like. Okay. Alright, I just see other things being so much better than this. Maya Fluids for one, Fluid Dynamics for one is much better than this. So sprites are kind of old school, Some people still like using them in games, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm just not going to use them, and we're not going to use them for this particular module. But I wanted to show you that anyway, and you guys can play around with the attributes if you want to, and feel free and have fun. And I do have the smoke options that are in Module 6, so please feel free to look at those. And okay, let's move on to the actual Witch's Cauldron scene, and let's get that going. Alright, I'll see you guys then.